Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Riccardo Calafiori is in London to do his medicals ahead of an Arsenal move, and he will be part of the team before Saturday. We're going to be diving into that story as broken by Graham Bailey, but also as broken by Fabrizio Romano as well. Graham Bailey has given us an exclusive on Arsenal's next signing, and he says it's 100% going to be a midfielder. Arsenal are juggling between two players. That is a Fabian Ruiz and Mikel Merino, but at the moment Arsenal have 100% confidence in signing Merino rather than Fabian Ruiz. We'll be talking about that as well, and then we'll also be talking about Jakub Kivier's future and a few outgoings, as Fabrizio has said. Outgoings are going to be very crucial on the next stage of Arsenal's transfer window, as they have to sell in order to bring in some more names. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Riccardo Calafiori in London, that's a big story of this morning, and obviously a few others as well. So let's get into it. Let's start off with that big Graham Bailey reporting that Riccardo Calafiori has now arrived in London and in England, and is now set to undergo a medical ahead of his move to Arsenal. TBR understands if all goes to plan, Calafiori will link up with the rest of the Arsenal squad in America on their preseason tour by Saturday. Now, we play Manchester United. That will be on Saturday morning. You don't expect him to be part of that game, but there is a high likelihood, I think it's highly likely, we'll see him play against Liverpool or get some minutes against Liverpool. So Fabrizio yesterday changed the plan, and he said that Arsenal changed their schedule. Initially, he was going to have all medicals in the US, but that changed. He's going to have all his medicals, or actually part of his medicals, in London today, and then he's going to fly out to the USA in the Los Angeles, where Arsenal are. And then we'll have to get him on part 2 of the medicals. For me, this is pretty much done. When a player arrives for medicals, unless he fails them, I don't think he will fail them, because he's a guy that has been playing football less than 4 weeks ago for Italy. So unless he picks up an injury with the Italian national team, that was not reported in any way, shape or form, by the way. So unless he fails medicals, this is a done deal. He's an Arsenal player. So part 1 of the medicals will take place today. I will let you know when the medicals start, but what I can confirm right now, as per Graham Bailey, as per Fabrizio as well, that the player is already in London. Fabrizio was the first one to break this story, by the way. He reported that Riccardo Calafiori was going to fly from Italy to England today, but before I woke up, the story had already evolved to the player coming to England as well. So hit the like button for this video, hit the like button for Fabrizio, and hit the like button for Graham Bailey as well. So Riccardo Calafiori is in London to undergo his medicals. We will give you the latest on this deal. Like I said, he's expected to be part of Arsenal's preseason by Saturday. That's when we play Manchester United. Don't expect him to play in that game. A couple of other players as well will be back for that game, I think. Gabriel Magalhaes, Gabriel Martinelli, and a few other players that didn't make it to the final of the Euros will actually be back. So I expect a few Brazilians to be back for Manchester United. I expect maybe Declan Rice. I don't know. Will he be back? Probably not. Saka, probably not. All the players that played in the final, or actually had a part to play in the final, might not actually be there. But some players that were knocked out of the Copa America at earlier stages, knocked out of the Euros at earlier stages, will be back in time for the Manchester United game. So Riccardo Calafiori is doing medicals. Who is next? According to Graham Bailey, Arsenal have already settled onto who is going to be the next signing, and they're saying that once Riccardo Calafiori deal is finalized, Arsenal will pursue the next target, which is expected to be a midfielder. TBR Football can confirm that Real Sociedad's Mikel Merino is emerging as Arsenal's top target in that regard. There's a lot to talk about this one, but I want us to first start off with Fabrizio Romano. Just wanted to give you that exclusive from TBR Football's Graham Bailey. But Fabrizio this morning has actually said that Arsenal are going to do deal by deal this summer. They're not going to try to do 2 deals at a go. They want to go Riccardo Calafiori, finalized, done. Then they go to Mikel Merino, finalized, done. And then they go to Fabian Ruiz, finalized, done. And then they go to maybe a goalkeeper, and then like that. What I don't understand is, if we wanted to do this strategy, why didn't we start our transfers a little bit earlier than later. For me, it would have made more sense. If you want to sign one player every 2 weeks, you have 4 weeks in June. That is 2 players. Then you have 4 weeks in July. That's another 2 players. That's four signings, and 2 players in August. Right, so that's 6 signings. If Arsenal are going to do around 4 signings, probably that means that we're going to see a few late incomings in August, something that we're not really used with at Arsenal. We are used to getting our signings nice and early. You remember the likes of Declan Rice, you remember the likes of Kai Havertz, those signings that come in nice and early. But this season, it's been different. This market has been different, and Fabrizio says the Arsenal strategy is going to be player by player. Now that Riccardo Calafiori is done, they're now moving on to the midfield. If they can get Merino, well and good. If they cannot get Merino, they also like Fabian Ruiz at the moment. So, guys, until the end of August, we are still going to be in the market trying to haggle over a few deals. Now, for me, I don't have a problem with that strategy as long as we can get in the main targets a little bit earlier on. If we can get in a midfielder, if we can get in a striker, and probably get in a defender as well by the first week of the Premier League, that's okay. Or by the start of the Premier League, that's okay. Then after that, we can go and start doing our nonsense and maybe trying to sign some goalkeepers and do all the kind of stuff that we are planning to do. But I want us to focus on this story by Graham Bailey, who says that Arsenal will, after finalizing Calafiori, Arsenal will now pursue their next target, which is expected to be a midfielder. TBR understand that and can also confirm that Real Sociedad's Mikel Merino is the one we are giving top priority at the moment. So the story coming out of Team News Antiques Dictionary and Diary yesterday was that Arsenal are now very much convinced that the player is going to choose them over any other team, and they're also very convinced that this deal is going to happen, and it might not be as difficult as the Riccardo Calafiori deal. But yesterday as well, from Duncan Castles, remember, we got an exclusive that Arsenal had initiated talks to sign Fabian Ruiz from PSG. So we have two stories there. You have Fabian Ruiz and you have Mikel Merino. I'm not saying Arsenal cannot get both, but I'm trying to look at the importance of these two deals and who would actually come first. Would Arsenal first try to sign Fabian Ruiz? Obviously, both players have played for Spain until the finals. They're not going to be part of our preseason anytime soon. They could be maybe part of the Lyon game and the Leverkusen game. I won't be surprised if they don't have any preseason time with Arsenal. If I was to predict who's going to come first, I'm going to shock you. I think Arsenal will sign Fabian Ruiz. If we are really seriously in for Fabian Ruiz, I think Arsenal will sign Fabian Ruiz first, and then we'll go on to sign Mikel Merino. And let me explain. So think about this. Fabian Ruiz has a bigger chance of coming in at Arsenal and being a starter. We are talking about a number 8. We're talking about a position that really requires that really requires a new incoming. And then remember, the Arsenal really don't need to depend on an outgoing to sign a new midfielder. Yes, we've been told that Fabian Ruiz depends on an outgoing or maybe Emil Smith-Rowe. But for me, I think Fabian Ruiz would be the one that comes into this Arsenal team and starts right away. And Mikel Merino would be the one that replaces Emil Smith-Rowe. Does it make sense? It means that Emil Smith-Rowe's move to Fulham has to get over the line in order for us to sign Mikel Merino. However, we don't really have to depend on Emil Smith-Rowe leaving Arsenal for us to sign Fabian Ruiz. And that's why I'm saying the Fabian Ruiz deal coming first makes much more sense than the Mikel Merino deal coming first. Because the Fabian Ruiz deal, for me, I'm looking at him as a player who comes into Arsenal, signs a 4-year deal, and straight away becomes a starter at Arsenal. Straight away becomes an important player for Arsenal. And I bet Mikel Arteta would have told Edu, can I get this guy into my midfield, and can I get him at least for 1 or 2 games for preseason? Because this is a dramatic, a dramatic change, a drastic change to the way we've been playing. We've not played with such a silky number 8 under Mikel Arteta ever. I mean, when he came in, we had Ozil who played in the 10, but by then we had the likes of Matteo Guendouzi, not as silky as you want them to be. Then after that, we had Xhaka play in the 8, good at passing the ball, but not as silky. So maybe Mikel Arteta is going to require that Fabian Ruiz comes in quickly so that we can, adapt to the changes. And maybe, again, I would love to see Declan Rice, Fabian Ruiz, and Martin Odegaard play in the same team. Maybe I'm gaslighted. Maybe I'm thinking it's going to work, and it's not going to work. So I won't be surprised if we sign Fabian Ruiz first, and then Mikel Merino later. Because for me, the Mikel Merino deal is the one that should, and is the one that's most likely going to depend on ESR. And I don't think that the ESR deal is going to happen overnight. Yes, I know parts of the deal have been agreed. The structure is still pending. It's a deal that could take us until Monday. It's a deal that could take us until Tuesday or Wednesday. I won't be surprised to get a here we go very soon. But again, I won't be surprised if this goes into the next 72 hours without us getting a here we go from Fabrizio or from David Ornstein that he's gone, right? So Merino depends on ESR for me at the moment. Now, the Mikel Merino deal, the advantages with it is Arsenal already have the green light from the player. Real Sociedad are selling, PSG are selling as well, by the way. Both of them are quite easy deals, right? I want to see where Arsenal's focus is, because where our focus will be is the player that Mikel Arteta wants most. If he focuses on Ruiz, that is the player he wants most. If he focuses on Merino, that is the player he wants most. Now, most of you have told me in my comment section, some of you even bombarding my WhatsApp section, we should be looking to sign Ruiz, not Merino. I don't think that you really have enough information on Mikel Merino, you guys, to be judging him. None of us have enough information on Mikel Merino to be judging him. Yes, we've seen Martin Zubimendi at Real Sociedad, but I think for Sociedad, most of you, if we were to talk about players that you watched last season for Sociedad, you'll be talking about Zubimendi, you'd be talking about maybe Takufesa Kubo. None of you would be talking about Mikel Merino. So if the manager has scouted him, if the team has given him the due diligence, I would love to see that happen as well. So Fabrizio has collaborated this story and said Arsenal are working on the Mikel Merino deal. They're working on a midfielder. It's going to be step by step. So Fabrizio has also said that at the moment, Arsenal are very, very confident that their transfer strategy and plan is going to plan as outgoings have become outgoings. We are expecting 3 outgoings at the moment, minus Aaron Ramsdale, by the way. And, he's just said Nketiah to Marseille, that is very likely. Reece Nelson to Leicester City, that is very likely. And he's also said that Jakub Kivio's future is very likely to be away from Arsenal, although at the moment, Inter have not proposed any deals. They have not agreed personal terms, and they've also not agreed anything with Arsenal. But he says at the moment, outgoings are crucial for Arsenal, and everything should be going according to plan. I want to talk about Kivio for a moment, right? Could Arsenal be thinking maybe we keep Kivio because Tomiyasu is injury prone? Could that be a reason for us to keep Jakub Kivio? I mean, I've seen a few scumbags online saying, we should be selling Tomiyasu instead of Kivio. That is the worst footballing brain I've seen type anything on the internet. Absolutely awful. The reason as to why you have Tomiyasu over Kivio in pecking order is Tomiyasu is a little bit versatile, but more versatile than Kivio, right? He's a little bit versatile, but more versatile than Kivio. I mean, Tommy can play at right back, he's played there. He can play at centre back, he's played there. He can play at left back, he's played there. And I think Tomiyasu can do what Kivio cannot do. Tomiyasu can also do what players like Zinchenko cannot do. He can man-mark a player. So you can ask him to take Salah out of the game. You can ask him to take Garnacho or Rashford out of the game. You can ask him to take a player like Christopher Nkunku out of the game, or even Cole Palmer. You can't ask that of Kivio. You can't ask that of Zinchenko. So for me, it's between Zinchenko and Kivio rather than Tomiyasu. It's not because I like Tomiyasu too much. No, I really do like him. There's no question about that. But the reason why I'm saying that Tomiyasu stays, you've got to keep that that player that has that specific role. And I think the great managers that we've seen in football always do that. Arsene Wenger, he always kept, that unique player in the squad. Despite the fact that people always said sell him, we always kept that unique player. Like, I'll give you an example. Ramsey was not the most talented player and midfielder Arsenal have ever seen, right? But Aaron Ramsey had a specific role in Arsenal games, and he always executed that specific role. So that is one player I can give you. So for me, Tomiyasu is a no-brainer. You don't touch him this summer. So Kivio's weird future is still ongoing. Inter want him, AC want him, Napoli wants him. But at the moment, looks like Inter have integrated interest. They have not made a bid, but we expect that bid to be ridiculous. Of course, they're Italian. But, I mean, if it comes in, right, and it's a good one, we thank God. In terms of the other outgoings, Fabrizio says that, most deals are closed. Arsenal, are feeling that their transfer plan is going according to the right path. Rhys Nelson to Leicester, I reckon that will happen. Emil Smith Rowe, what should we say? Edin Ketia is the one I'm not sure. Like, everything seems vague now. Everything really seems vague. But in the next 72 hours, we should be able to get a clarification on Edin Ketia's future as well. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Riccardo Calafiori is in London.